What's up, homies and homiettes? It's your boy Hoom Boom, and this is the Hold Up Show. Live from nature, you dig? You guys miss me? I know it's been a couple of days. It just been a little too hot. I mean, I still been out here connecting with Source, doing what I need to do to stay in alignment with him spiritually. And trying to keep all my chakras on point and all that. See the hair just going crazy. But whatever. I get it done Friday or something. You know what I mean? Finally go get me a shape up. You know? It's been a beautiful, beautiful couple of days. Hope everybody's gearing up for the 4th of July vacations, that real official start of the summer. I think, anyway, you know what I'm saying? That's when people really get in their summer mode and get that nostalgia of wanting to run around, be in the water, be at the beach, be around family and loved ones more, more barbecues, more pool parties, things like that. And yeah, love is love out here, you dig? And been running into a lot more strangers that just find their way to me somehow, some way. And I like it. It's just like I don't know, they're like drawn to me, and then they want to talk, and we get into it. Like 2 days ago, I was chilling in my car, and I hopped out. I was about to get barefoot, you know what I mean? I was about to walk in the grass, do some grounding, do some looking within. And I had some weed. I had some bud with me. I had rolled up in the car, and I was going to walk and think. Then I was going to sit down, meditate, and let the divine guide me on what he wants me to do, or how he wants me to approach the things he wants me to accomplish here on this earth. And there was a car in the grass right next to me. And it sounded like he was listening to opera in a way, right? But it wasn't opera. It was just like a love song in Cuban, right? So he sees me get out the car, and I guess he notices, that I had this blunt in my fingers. And he hops out, and he's like, yo, Pa, you got a rap, you got some papers, da da da. And I was like, yeah, spread love, you feel me? So he never seen like a leaf rap before, So I gave him the leaf wrap. He was a little amazed. You know, it kind of threw me off. And I was like, you know, you ain't seen a leaf wrap before, you know. So he, oh, thank you so much. And he runs back to his car. And he comes back. And he's got a jar from the dispensary of some brownie scout, right? And he's like, here, Pop, take as much as you want. Take as much as you want. I'm like, really? You know? And I'm like, nah, you know, I mean, I'm all right, but if you want to give me some, you know, you just give me some, you know, you know, give me what you want. You know, no, he can't. He insisted. He opened it up, he put it in my hand, said, take as much as you want. I'm like, you know, so I took a blunt's worth, you know, I'm not greedy, you know, it was filled up, you know, but I'm not that kind of person, you know what I mean? Because I really wasn't looking for anything in return for giving him a wrap. It was love, you know. You need a wrap, brother. You know what I mean? Here you go. You know what I'm saying? And then he started talking to me, you know, find out he's from Cuba. You know, he ain't really been here that long, you know. And you know, he really didn't know too much English, but the English that he did know was very clear, you know, very, you know, he pronunciated very well, you know what I'm saying? And we got to talking, and he, you know, he got to explaining to me. Well, once he told me he's from Cuba, you know, I said, yo, that's a beautiful place. You know, I know a lot about Cuba as far as like holistically, you know, like a lot of people don't know that Cuba has some of the best doctors in the world because of their political and political position and government infrastructure that you know, these other countries just don't really mess with them as far as like importing things to them and all that because of the type of position that they're in and things like that on a world spectrum, right? They're like almost like used as some sort of territorial pond, you know, to pose some sort of threat to the United States from other foreign countries, you know, and it kind of put them in a tough spot as far as, you know, the United States not really wanting to engage with them in such good relations, you know. But in my eyes, I think that's all chess moves, fake media manipulation, you know. But in the course of that, their doctors had to come up with a lot of holistic ways to cure their people because they wasn't getting the resources and the medicines from these other countries, you know. So that's what I knew about Cuba, you know, as far as the amazing work that their doctors do, you know, through nature on how they, you know, heal their people and how they treat their people for the ailments that they have and things like that. And of course, you know, we've all heard some of the, you know, the Castro stories, the communism, the, you know, some of the other battles their people go through, you know. And he was surprised that I knew certain things about his country, but he also enlightened me on some things that I wasn't really familiar with. Like, he was like, you can't get a 2020 anything as far as like a car, all of it. He said, you can't get none of that in Cuba. Like, no American cars is there. They only get Russian and China products imported to them, right? And when you hear that, you hear, the political nonsense that's going on or whatever, right? As far as like in relations to that, right? It kind of makes sense why they won't have any American products, cars. He was like, yeah, I want to go to McDonald's. I want to go to Taco Bell. We haven't got none of that. And I was really thinking like, bro, you don't want none of that. But that's poison. You don't really want none of that. So, I mean, to each his own. He wanted, or their people want it or want to experience those things. They should be able to, but those companies are not going to go there because they're not going to want to involve themselves in that arena, right? So, he would tell me, how the state owns everything. Like, when you go to the supermarket, it's a state supermarket. Wherever the natives have to go, it's the state, Like, he explained it to me like, beautiful Hilton hotel, right? And it's in Cuba. The Cubans can't go to that hotel, but the people who run Cuba and the people who come to visit Cuba can go to those hotels. That's where they stay. But the Cuban people, if they try to go there, they get rerouted to a state-owned hotel. You know what I mean? Think of it as the projects of hotels owned by the state. You know what I mean? They don't get to go experience any of that luxury that the Hilton in their country may provide because they're natives of the country. And that got me to thinking on our end on how we always question how these immigrants get so much resources and things like that from United States and how they'll roll out the red carpet for them, but we have homeless people, homeless veterans, just are starving people, or people who out here working hard every day and the rent keep going up and the salaries keep staying the same. And it just made me think, because you're a citizen. You identify as a citizen, and legally, when you identify as a citizen, you are identifying yourself as property of the United States of America Corporation, the all capitals US of A, right? You are not claiming your sovereign power here as a being of God, a living man or woman. If you identified as those things, you possibly could get all the resources, if not more, than the immigrants get, because that's why they're getting them. But I don't want to dig too deep into that, because that could go all over the place, and it could be a very long conversation. If you know, if you're involved or are in tune or enlightened on how all that works, we could say that for another conversation. But he was just telling me, like, what do you know about Cuba? Let me know what's your impressions of Cuba. And, and I'm like, well, do you want my personal impression because I'm a little more informed than maybe the average person? Or do you want the general consensus? You know what I mean? He was like, nah, just, he didn't really understand as far as like those words I was saying. He was just like, nah, just tell me what you know, right? And I'm like, Castro, communism, beautiful women, beautiful country, beautiful land, stuff like that. All the stuff that went on with Kennedy and all that at that time. And he was like, exactly. He said, you want to know what I know about Cuba? And I was like, what you know about Cuba? He said, absolutely nothing. Because if we say one word bad about Cuba or bad about the government, we could get killed. And I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, it just opened my eyes to some of the privileges that we have, because I don't even want to call them privileges. I want to call them our God-given rights, that we speak up, and able to use our voice of displeasure that we have towards our government or towards how things run, that these other countries don't have the privilege without being shot on the spot or killed or confined or thrown in a cell for talking, bad about how the establishment is being run. And he told me, like, they don't have elections. Once Castro died, his brother took over. Once his brother was whatever I guess Castro's brother died or he stepped down or whatever the case may be. The next person up was a general in the military. It was like they just went and picked another person already in the hierarchy. People had no say, no nothing. You know what I mean? And it's like, even though I feel how I feel about our voting system, because I don't think we vote anything, that's why it's called an election and not a selection, because we don't select our candidates. We have to elect out of whoever they give us, which is more of the same hierarchy type of system that, already been playing those DC games, so to say, right? The swamp games, right? And it was just a refreshing conversation. I smoked the blunt with him. We chopped it up on other little things. You know what I mean? And then when it was all said and done, he said to me, he said, "Man, you're all right. This is good energy right here. I like this. I appreciated this, brother." And I was like, "Yeah, you know, I'm one of God's, and I'm gonna lead with love. So you see me and you out here, come give me a holler, man. It's all love, Let's bust it up. Let's chop it up like the people of God that we are. You know what I'm saying? You ain't Cuban to me. That's your heritage. You're just a man. You know what I mean? And you came with good energy. You came with a good heart. You know what I mean? Gave me some dap. Gave me a hug. I told him enjoy his day, and he peeled off. You know what I'm saying? But I just, I've been running to individuals like that. Uh, Also, I want to give a shout out to my favorite smoothie maker at Wawa. If you go to any Wawa, go to the Wawa between 38 and 70 and ask for Marie. She makes the best smoothies. So shout out to Marie. Hard-working lady. I wish they need to start giving these certain Wawas and places like that tip cups, because people make a lot of personalized requests and put a lot of extra pressure on these people preparing our food and preparing our smoothies, and there's nothing there to tip them, to show some graciousness to them. And uh, that's something I'm pushing for, because we need to show more gratitude to these people. And I don't mean just Wawa. I'm talking like Wendy's. I'm talking McDonald's. I'm talking about wherever you go to get a meal and they prepare your meal, with love and care, and you're more than satisfied, and you have a rapport with these people. You should be able to show some love to them and be able to tip them. I mean, you can go out your way and tip them anyway. They don't need a tip cup, but I'm promoting the tip cup, something that these people can go home with something extra every day, that they can split and share amongst each other, or however they want to do it. But, one of the things that I wanted to get on here and, talk about is I think people have a hard time loving someone that doesn't need them, or understanding how someone can love them that doesn't need them, right? I think that scares people to the utmost, right? Because I think that leaves you in such a state of vulnerability, knowing that you don't have nothing over a person that if all else fails, they'll need me for this. They'll need to love me. Like, like, like they'll need me. They'll need to love me because they need a place to stay. Or they'll need to love me because I'm their ride to work, or they'll need to love me because I'm the one that cooks their food, or they'll need to love me because I'm their protector, their provider, not just I love these people just because I love them, and whatever they do for me is a bonus, right? It's just something that comes with the territory of them loving me, but it's not based on that. It's based on them just loving me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people get real scared because they feel as though, oh my gosh, if they don't need me and I show my vulnerability and give them my heart as well and love them back, that they could just walk away from me at a moment's notice because they don't need me. And then where would I be? Would I be able to handle them leaving or them walking away because I don't have something to force them to come back, or a need of theirs to keep them attached to me, right? And it's real, it could get deep. It's real serious on that level, you know what I mean? And I seen a clip from Young Pharaoh, right? Of him explaining how people want to run around and be in love, and that the government and the establishments and the elite want you running around trying to love each other because it keeps you in a docile state. It keeps you chasing a false reality of someone else's perception of what love should be, right? Because, put it like this, you could ask one girl to the next, what's their idea of love? And one girl say, oh, I perceive love as him, a lot of affection, a lot of attention, all my bills paid, my hair and nails done, and that's how you show me love, and da 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 da. And another female could just be like, honor, respect, loyalty, being trustworthy, dependable, or cooking a meal with care, or doing laundry and whatever, right? Communication, just, being a place of peace. Like, if you go ask every single person their ideal of love, they may have similarities, but they'll never be the same. So when you connect with a person, you're trying to almost, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say program yourself, but you're trying to get in tune with them and on the same page with them to show them that you love them. And sometimes people even do this to the detriment of their own comfortability, you know what I mean? Because they're so into a person. And it works on both ends, because you're trying to mesh two worlds together. And to find those connections that it just works as one, it's kind of hard. But if that's what you're pushing for, like if that's your goal and that's your, you know, that's your objective, is to be in love and foster love with someone else, and then foster that amongst the offspring that you have, however many offspring, or if you're even in that mode to have offspring, or taking marriage vows and things of that nature, doing ceremonies to profess your love to the world of someone else and all that, right? That it keeps you off the mission of what God is intending you to do. The divine creator may have brought you here for a purpose, and that purpose, almost certainly, love isn't the priority. You know what I mean? Love is a part of the mission. You want to live in your purpose while expressing love to everyone, but you don't want love to divert you from your purpose, right? And that's what the society almost seems that it has built people into doing, which is, guiding everyone to chase love and chase an illusion that they created on TV of what this life is supposed to be, when in actuality you're supposed to be chasing the purpose that the divine creator, God himself, brought you here to do, and then foster love around that, or love will find you in the spectrum of you fulfilling your purpose here, and it'll all flow amazingly. That's what I think. And this is just clearly my opinion. Clearly my perspective that I've gathered from being here on the world, and from some of the interactions and dialogues that I've had with other people, or that I may have watched, And it's like, I was so busy trying to show so much love to so many people, that I lost my purpose of why I was here. You know what I'm saying? Or I might not have never even known my purpose for being here, because I never discovered it running around trying to spread so much love to people, that when the divine came and my ancestors came and pulled me out of a situation that didn't serve my higher purpose, or was basically a detriment to my soul, or could have led to my death, that I understand now that that was not the route that he intended for me, that I've been being divinely protected to show people how to heal and overcome adversities while finding their purpose, and then while pursuing that purpose under God's direction and guidance. You know what I'm saying? And basically, like, told me, like, the love that I seek will find me in the midst of me doing what he intended me to do while I was here. And I understood that, because your partner in life is supposed to be your helpmate. They're supposed to help you fulfill your purpose under the divine creators. That's because their purpose was guided to you to help you fulfill your purpose, to help fulfill the greater good that God is trying to relay and put on this earth, And it's like, in the midst of that, there were people, certain individuals heard that I was, completely single, not just running around, doing whatever, or, trying to conquer everything that I was running across, that was in my liking, that I was on a different type of time and I had a different perspective and respect of my life, my energy, and the love and the time that I spend with whoever I spend it with. That, there was offers made, there was, things like that. And it was like, I hear you, but, that's not my purpose or my focus right now, And, I appreciate, all that love or all that concern or, you know, people wanting to be a part of my life in that way. And, that's, it feels good to be wanted in that particular way, but that's just, I've experienced that already. I understand all that. Like is that really built in love or is that built in lust? Because you know, you like my vibe and you like whatever else I may do for you physically, or you know what I'm saying, or you know what I mean, like just or just the complete package of person that I am, or how I express love or how I express my gratitude of being in your company, and you know what I mean, and you feel good after being around me and I feel good and all that good stuff, right? I appreciate all that, but I know now that the purpose is bigger. I, I've realized how many hurt people it is out here in this world. Like how many people, like when I say wearing a mask, like all the masks aren't bad masks. Some of those masks are masking the hurt, masking the sadness while they are running in autopilot. A lot of people are out here running in autopilot. They're getting up, living the same bad cycle, because they think that they are stuck in this cycle. They think that they have to, you know, get up at 6 a.m., go to work for 8 hours, eat the same lunches at the same spots, and have the same meetings with the same people about the same things and the same issues are arising every day. And then you go home and you got to pick up the kids, or you got to whatever, go to the grocery shop, and you got to cook the dinner, and you got to take a shower, and now you got to go to bed. You might have watched one or two of your shows that the little bit of free time that you got is now occupying your mind in another false reality of a TV show, and all that, right? You go to sleep, you get up, you do it all over again, and blah 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 blah, and it's like, I don't think God intended us to be here for that. Like if you are happy and you are fulfilling something in you that brings you happiness by doing those things, by all means continue to do that. If you feel as though whatever you're doing out here in this world is making an impact on other people's lives in a positive manner, I'm not talking to you. The people who I'm talking to know exactly who I'm talking to. You have to get off that hamster wheel if you ain't happy. And some people are scared because they always got this guy named Bill on their back. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't even really know Bill. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Bill is always going to be there. You know what I mean? One way or another, Bill is going to always be there. But if you are living in your purpose and doing something that you love and making an impact, however you can make an impact on people's lives, your bills will be paid. The money comes from living in your purpose. It's undeniable, because if you're living and you're doing something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It'll never be work to you, and people have to really understand that statement, because they think they have to stay somewhere to pay something that they can't take with them. You're already taking fake paper that's being taxed and cut down every which way it can to keep you on that hamster wheel, to keep you unfocused and disconnected from God and from your spirit and what lights you up. Why are you actually here? You know what I'm saying? And I'm I'm hoping in the rest of my time here that I could guide people back to finding themselves and back to finding their connection with the spirit, with the divine creator, and what all that actually matters to them, and what actually lights up their soul and fulfills their spirit, because I have memories of being around people that I was so drained after being around them, regardless of if it was a happy time or a bad time, that I don't even want to feel none of that no more. I'm not even like if I have an encounter with someone and it feels as though like after that encounter that I'm wore out, I gotta really think 2 and 3 times if I even want to entertain that person anymore, or if I just want to love them from a distance and try to send help from a distance in that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when you start talking like this and when you start discovering yourself and you just start discovering how much more bigger the world and the purpose is, and how to connect with God in that way, you repel people, and it's like, great, I'm glad I'm repelling people, because you are not of the light. You have not been drawn to God in the correct way yet. You're still on the hamster wheel, or you're still chasing things that don't matter, things that you can't take with you. We've seen all the pharaohs try to take everything with them, and how did that work out? You know what I'm saying? It's like, only thing you're going to take with you, and that's going to live on, and it's either going to ascend or descend, is your spirit. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just feel as though I'm here to tell people the truth. And it's not like there is an absolute truth. There's my truth, there's your truth, there's, everybody has their own truth. Everybody has their own side of a story, but I can't deny your truth and say that my truth is more truth than your truth. Is my truth will only be more of a truth if I know you lying. You know what I'm saying? But if you're just telling your side of the story and it's based in actual events that actually happened, then I could never deny your truth, or say that you're lying about something, or whatever the case may be. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you're always going to have your perception. I'm going to have my perception, and we're going to move on, right? And then it's like other things. From me being in this park for as long as I've been in this park now, what is it? So we're going on 3 months now, and all the stuff that happened that got me to this park, and the visions and all that I seen. Like, I know I don't speak on that a lot, because I just don't feel as though people will understand unless they've been through a spiritual awakening or a kundalini, or that they have some type of clairvoyance about them, or any of the clairs, you know what I mean? Uh, of course I've had more visions. Of course I've been shown other things. Of course he had to show me what was going on and why they had to pull me out of situations that they had to pull me out of. Like I got the full view. Like I got everything. You know what I'm saying? I got everything. Everything. And it's like voodoo, hoodoo, curses, hexes, all of it is real, right? All of that is real. And people can actually be succumbed by that and be thrown in an illusion, or people around them could be thrown in an illusion to make you think that a person is crazy or a person has lost their mental capacity somewhere along the way of running on the hamster wheel, when in actuality that might not fully be the case. They might be in a spiritual warfare that they didn't even know that they were involved in. You know what I'm saying? And you know I've come to the realization that there are some people out here that are so divinely protected and have a purpose, that in a light that is so bright under the guise of the Lord, that you can't do that to them. And individuals who play in divination and play in those fields, whether they are experienced or have the full knowledge or whatever, or they some amateur just mixing up some stuff that some old lady or some whoever told them, right? That they are, they've been warned. Hey, God warns them. Hey, this is one of mine. You might want to chill out with all that on this one. That's not going to work with this one. It's going to end badly for you. And some people still just ignore the signs that this person is divinely protected. Like it's almost like they didn't believe it. Like they almost chose the devil's side and thought the devil was more powerful than God. Like like at one time I was skeptical, because logically it didn't make any sense to me, because I never delved in the spirit realm, or any of those realms, because I definitely got my opinions about religion, but that's not what we're here for right now, right? People could actually, from vibrating at low frequencies, and when I say vibrating at low frequencies, that means like most of their actions and intentions throughout the day are based in negativity for their own personal gain, that they're looking to fuck somebody over to make themselves happy, or they're willing to do something devious and crooked to make themselves happy, or for their own personal gain and their own personal purposes and things like that. So when you're operating like that, you can get certain entities, spiritual entities, that can attach to you, and they could literally start guiding you down the wrong path. They could literally take over your soul, and you thinking that you operating things, when this whole time it's the entity that's got you all wrapped up, got you wrapped up in the devil's whirlwind. And like, all I could do is just pray for people who play in those realms in a negative way, who's willing to do the shadow, play in the shadows, and play on the devil's side of things, and think that they're going to win, you know. I guess demons can do stuff to other demons, but when you try to mess with one of God's earth angels, chosen ones, star seeds, you know, people that was people that was brought here unknowingly to raise the frequencies of humanity and of the other, help be God's shepherd to bring in the lost souls, you know, those lost sheep, bring them back into, you know, bring them back to the farm of the love of the Lord and the purpose of the Lord. People can get lost, you know what I mean? You know, people can really get jammed up. And it's like before, you know, I would think vengeance, I would want revenge, but then I would think about it and it wouldn't serve me no purpose, you know? Like it would be a temporary fix, you know what I'm saying? Because whatever I was looking to gain by doing that, it just be temporary joy, and it could actually be, you know, depending on whatever action I would be willing to take to get to my goal of revenge, may be more detrimental to me than to whoever I'm trying to do it to, you know. So that's why I've learned to let go and let God handle whoever he needs to handle that was going against his chosen one or going against his earth angel. And it's like I'm more than willing and happy to let him handle it, and while I figure out my purpose, or you know, pursue my purpose of why he actually brought me here, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I've always had strong intuitions, and I was always able to look beyond the surface of what people try to present to me, and I always gave people enough rope to hang themselves, but to really sit and believe and know from the bottom of my heart that I came here for something bigger, that I in so many words kind of picked this mission without knowing, you know, my spirit picked this mission when it entered this vessel that I'm in, this body. It's it's a whole nother perspective, or it just opens up the world in such a big different way, you know. Like sometimes I can't even put it into words, and I know a lot of words. Like I had one of those mothers that had me writing 10 words out the dictionary every day, learning the definition, using them in sentences and all that type of stuff. And shoot, now I kind of look back and I was like, man, I was probably being divinely guided to do that, or she was probably being divinely guided to make me go through that, so that when I get to this point, when I answered the call, that I would be able to articulate myself in a manner to where as though saved souls, lost souls, and negative entities will hear me clearly and understand that I'm leading with love, and I'm speaking with purity of bringing them back to the divine creator and finding that purpose within inside of them, that they'll know it's real. And it's like, of course you think back and you think that, you know, I should have bust some reactions at this moment when I felt this, or I should have did something at that moment when I felt that. And it's like, no, everything played out exactly how it was supposed to. And now of where I'm at, I wouldn't change a thing, you know. It made me who I am right now. And the me that I am right now is probably the happiest version of myself that I could be proud of to date, you know. And regardless of what any outside opinions or any, you know, any perceptions of that people may have of me, I mean, I could give a fuck. Like, I could care less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had this little nigga the other night try to play me and say that I was broke. He ain't know me from a can of paint. And he talking about, yeah, I got this job, yeah, I'm about to make 100 grand in 10 years. And I'm looking like, 10 years? Like, motherfucker, I probably lived your life twice. By the time you know, 22, 23, I didn't know, by the time I was 22, 23, I've lived your life twice. And I was not in my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's, you know, lions cannot concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. You know what I mean? And it's like, think what you want, but you gotta first get to my age. You gotta survive what I survived and not be dead or in jail or insane. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, also during this journey, God has shown me that I'm unbreakable, you know, and I'm thinking like the whole time that all the stuff that I was overcoming, you know, all the people that ever lied on me, spread rumors on me, all the people that ever went out their way to do something negative to stop my progression or to stop my progress of whatever I was trying to accomplish. And I endured that and I went through that and I, you know what I mean, unfazed. I'm thinking that was all me, and it was a power. It was one of the gifts that he gave me. You know what I'm saying? And I just know that I'm unbreakable. You know, there's nothing, like, no one can break me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I see so many broken people. I see so many hurt, unhealed people walking around with their mask on, you know, whether it's a mask of happiness, mask of anger, mask of whatever, is because they scared to face something that they think might break them. You know what I'm saying? Or might break them and they not know how to put themselves back together, or they need the help of somebody else to put them back together. I don't need that help. I could put me back together. You know, of course I had helping hands along the way because we're in a 3D world that, you know, I can't just come out here and just, you know, plant some food and get right. You know what I'm saying? We go, oh, this is my land. Oh, I paid for this. You know, all this is God's land. You know what I'm saying? And I should be able to pull up and do whatever, right? As long as it's not your home, you know. But since that's not the case, of course I had helping hands. But nobody hand was there to really put me back together because they didn't understand what broke me. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't understand. They couldn't understand the level of spiritual warfare that I didn't even know that I was under, that I was defeating for years. I was defeating it for years. But God kept me there for the right moment until it was time for me to answer the call. And it was of my own free will that I still answered the call, not knowing that I'm thinking I'm being myself, but not knowing that I was being divinely guided the whole time. You know what I'm saying? That he had his hand on my shoulder the whole time. That my ancestors and my grandparents and other family and guardian angels had their hand on me the whole time. And it's like when I look back at those situations that could have went all the way bad for me, when I was tiptoeing on that line of where it could go all the way bad or all the way good, that they were there keeping me on that line, tipping me to the good side, tipping me to make sure that I always lead with love and I always lead people in the right manner. You know what I'm saying? That I always lead with an impression of love and leave a footprint on their heart that they'll always be happy to see me or happy to receive me if we was ever to cross paths again. But yeah, I would like to thank all the new subscribers, you know what I'm saying? I thank all the people that comment on the shorts, that comment on my videos. You know, I just ask that you watch everything to the end because it's a lesson in the message. You know what I'm saying? It's always a lesson in the message. It's always a lesson in the message. This is the purpose of it. You know what I mean? To take you another step internally to light up your soul, And I got my moments, I got my slick moments, I got my, you know what I mean? Like the truth ain't loved and the truth ain't always pretty and everybody ain't gonna like it, you know what I mean? But it's the truth, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't, sometimes you just can't, regardless of what you do, you can't hide from the truth, you know what I mean? And it's like here's a little story, right? I know a certain individual who was messing with someone's girl. Said girl comes to him, says I'm pregnant twice, gets money off of him, claiming that she needs the money to pay for the abortion because she can't tell her man that she's pregnant because she's supposed to be on birth control, right? So now she gets pregnant, she gasses, oh, I need this money, blah, blah, blah. Said individual gives her the money, even though she has insurance and the abortions are free. So she gasses them up for the money. This said individual sees the man and is like, yeah, I'm a little fucked up. I need some weed. All right, yeah, I come spark you up. Da, 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 da. Not knowing he's being sparked up with his own money. Outfits and DoorDash being bought. And the man is looking like, damn, damn, little mama, where you getting this extra cash from? It ain't pay week for you. Oh, I did so-and-so's hair, or I did some little whatever, or I paid something early, or I paid half the rent, so I had some extra money to do this, that, and the third. Here's $100 of this. Here's an outfit of that. Here, go buy some weed. Can we go to the liquor store? And it's like, all right, you know what I mean? It'd be like, it just, it's just like so funny, you know what I'm saying? Like the things people do, thinking they being devious, and the whole time they be playing themselves. Like it, it's just like all I can do is laugh, man. It's like all I can do is laugh. You know what I mean? Or people, be like, dang, like people be trying to get other people in a situation and wonder like why they don't get the treatment that another person gets, and whatever. It's like, cause you're not that person. Like, you just don't hold that. You know what I mean? It's not on them, it's not next to them, it's in them, you know, and it's like something that you don't have in you. It's just going to be mad forever. Like, it's going to be mad forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just always find it hilarious. You know what I'm saying? I just always find it hilarious. You know what I mean? Because the truth, no matter how ugly, bad it is, it also could be hilarious. Like, it also could be funny. It just could be funny. And it's like, I just take it all with a grain of Celtic salt. You know? Also, I urge people to take spiritual baths. Yes, get that Celtic salt, get in the bath, and take those spiritual baths. Don't put it on your head. I'm talking from the shoulders down. Get in there, soak your body, and let the salt purify you and release and dissolve that negativity or those things on you. You know, like these crystals. A lot of people see me with these crystals, and you know, they give me double looks sometimes, and then sometimes people ask and I tell them they're healing crystals. You know, look them up. You know what I mean? Like that side of things is real. If it wasn't real, they wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Get in nature, get by the water. It heals you. It heals you. The sun can burn away negativity. Name one person who's mad leaving the park. Name one person mad who's leaving the beach. That's a special individual if they're upset leaving or being at any of those type of environments that are pure of the earth. It's no way. You know where people is mad and upset or leaving angry from? Work. Somewhere they don't want to be. You know what I mean? The DMV in line, mad somewhere they don't want to be. Right? I'm just like, you know, think about somebody, the hospital, the emergency room. People are angry in there. You know what? You shouldn't even be in there. You should be changing your diet, looking for herbs and supplements to take to heal yourself. You know what I mean? Now, I'm no doctor. I'm not giving no medical advice or nothing like that. I'm giving spiritual uplifting. That's what I'm giving. You know what I mean? Get out here, exercise. The endorphins and the things that your body releases after you having a hard workout will repel all that negativity, and you will also be healthier. Your blood will circulate faster through you. That's your ancestors' blood. That's the DNA of God, who created you. You are made in his image. You are a God made in his image. Act like it. You know what I mean? Stop acting like heathens. Stop acting like your body ain't a temple. Stop acting like you need alcohol every day. Stop acting like you need to do something detrimental to yourself every day. You know what I mean? It's just not the case. You know, you know, it's just not the case. You know what I mean? And it's like so many people live on perception. We have to stop that. Like, stop whatever you perceive. Open your mouth and talk to somebody. Get to know them. Like, I could talk to a homeless person the same way I could talk to a CEO of a company, with humility, love, and respect. Because the next day that CEO could be homeless, and the next day that homeless guy can win a lottery and become his own CEO. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who God has their hand on, because you want to have some sort of 3D societal perception of a person. You better watch it, because life will humble you. Life will humble you. Life will humble you. Always speak life into yourself. Never say you can't do something. Never say that it's not possible. Never say that, you know, you ain't capable of, because everyone is capable of doing whatever they put their mind to. Your mind is your strongest weapon. Your mind and your heart is your strongest weapons. If you believe that you can't do it, you won't do it. If you believe you can do it, you will do it. I can't make it no plainer. I can't make it no plainer. But it's your boy Hoon Boone. This has been another segment of the Hold Up Show. I hope and I pray and I meditate that this helps somebody get through, that this gives somebody a different perspective, that this sparks the next generation or somebody that's going to enlighten the next generation to go forward. Because when I heard Tupac say them words, I was one of those people that he enlightened and sparked consciousness into for this generation. You know what I'm saying? Even though he had his antics, he had his things that he did, I could see beyond the veil. You know what I mean? They got money for wars but can't feed the poor. You know what I mean? Like, I know what he was trying to do. Prodigy, you know what I'm saying? The Hungarian dialect, you know what I mean? Like, I know what he was trying to do, sprinkling those little seeds of about the elites, about the Illuminati and behind the veil, while speaking street stuff. I know what he was doing, you know what I'm saying? And it could take you down a path of enlightenment. It could take you somewhere where you can help others. You could become knowledgeable, and you could find what's right here and connect with the Lord. You know what I mean? Connect with God, divine creator. You feel me? So when you hear me speak like that, you know, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that is what I'm talking about. Because if you don't know anybody who God saved, you know me. Trust and believe me. He showed me my enemies. Trust me. Trust me. He has shown me everything my enemies have been up to. Trust me. Trust me. The poisoning, the everything, the sabotaging, the kicking my back, all of it, showed it all to me. Showed it all. Clearly. Clear. It's like, thank you. Thank you. You saved my life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, shout out all the new subscribers. Shout out all the Cash Apps. Shout out all the commenting. Shout out all the sharing. Please continue to do all of that. Please continue to spread the message. Please continue to know that I am only human. I still have emotions and I still battle with things on how I react to certain things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like really quick, like, I was shown the day that I wasn't supposed to wake up in 2022. I was shown the day that I wasn't supposed to wake up. I was shown why I had to go to an emergency room, because my chest was hurting out of nowhere after I dropped a certain individual off at work and was like, man, why is my chest hurting? He showed me that I wasn't supposed to wake up that day. You feel me? He showed me a certain individual over me, sleeping, smiling, while imagining how they're going to put on their crying face and how they're going to act hysterical, like they don't know why I didn't wake up. You feel me? Like, I was shown all of that. And all I could do is pray for people, man. All I could do is pray for people, because if you thought the devil was on your side, the devil is a liar. God is the truth. And whatever, you know what I mean? So, it's your boy Hoon Boom. This is the Hold Up Show. Love and light to everybody. Love and light to everybody.